ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः।
Dear friends, welcome back to the study of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5. We have completed the study. I shouldn't use the word completed. We have studied the 10th verse for the time being. As I have told you many a times, and please bear with me, I'll be repeating over and over again. That is, this excellent book known as Bhagavad Gita, Song of God. This book has certain very special qualities, and we must bear in mind to take the fullest advantage while studying this sacred book. First is, it has 18 chapters, more than 720 odd shlokas, verses, and each shloka has a link with the previous one and the following one. A continuity of ideas consistent with one goal: how to emancipate ourselves from the bondage of this world. For that matter, it is informative, it is educative, and it is instructive. All three rolled into one. Now, what is this concept of informative, educative, and instructive? The concept is very much real to us. I see you with my pair of eyes. If they are not defective or blind, I see you all. This is my perceptual observation. Through my eyes, I observe. And when I see all of you, by this perceptual observation, I develop a conceptual understanding. They're all devotees of the divine, and they're eager to re-educate themselves so that they can live in this world not as a slave, but as a lord. So my perceptual observation leads into conceptual knowledge. Thirdly, now I see different people, but I see devotees. That is, my observation and my conception is taken a different direction. What is that? All of us are separate from each other, but the highest common factor is we are the devotees of the Lord. That is the instruction part of it. That to see unity in diversity. That is, this appears to be real, but the containers are different. The essence in the container is real. This is what is the instructive part of it. And how to realize that? That is intuitive experience known as samadhi. Samyak adhigama. You understand the reality in its own context. Not which appears to be real, but not real. I see and educate myself through this information, perceptual observation, conceptual knowledge, and intuitive experience. That is, my whole being is saturated with a particular idea. I am with the divine is in me, and I am everywhere. How to achieve that is instructive. Now, the 5th chapter, which we are studying, and which is a very, very, very important chapter as far as information, education, instruction is blended in each and every verse. This is the excellence of Bhagavad Gita. We have studied the 10th shloka. Let me start from that and move on to the 11th. Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tvakta karoti yah. I would prefer, dears, rather I'll request you to have a pocket-sized Gita, the original and a translation into a language with which you are very familiar, your mother tongue or in English. That will help me to pass my ideas to you in a more methodical procedure. Now, the 10th shloka. Brahmani adhaya karmani. Brahmani adhaya karmani. 3 words. Brahmani, the word Brahman has to be interpreted in a manner going with the text. Now, Brahman is Saguna Brahma, Nirguna Brahma, Maya Adhisha, Maya Atita. What is Saguna Brahma? Saguna Brahma is commonly known as Param Ishvara, the sublime being who manages this cosmic energy and runs the whole show. The whole universe is being managed by that supreme power, supreme intelligence, supreme ability, executive capacity. So the word Brahman, according to the text, should be understood whether it is Ishvara, Maya Adhisha, or whether it is Parabrahma, Maya Atita, Nirguna, Nirakara, Nirvikalpa Brahma. Here, the word Brahman is being used as Saguna Brahma, he who runs the whole show. I perform my duties of life, karmani. the duties of life. And sense of duty is inseparably inherent in human thinking. There's not an enlightened human being who does not have a sense of duty. Karma here means performance of your duties of life. How do you perform? Without any attachment. Sangam tvaktva. Sangam is attachment. So, Brahmani adhaya sangam tvakta jah karmani karoti. This is the paraphrase. What does it mean? He who yah karoti, he who performs what? His duties of life, sangam tvaktva, without any attachment or aversion. How does he do so? Brahmani adhaya, offering to the divine. Karma yoga, the concept of karma yoga is now being defined in another manner. But the idea is the same, it is not being compromised. What is that idea? I have my duties of life. As I am today, I perform my duties of life with a motive. I would like to gain this. Let me be very honest, matter of fact, practical. I would like that I am giving of my very best. You should understand. That expectation in me spontaneously, automatically comes into me because I've educated myself that way. I have been brought up that way, not in this life, but my previous lives also. So, I am doing my best. But behind this performance, unknown to me, this subtle idea that you will understand has a hold on me. And what is the end result of that? After the talk, you come and say, "Oh Swami, it was wonderful." And Swami hits the cloud, hits the ceiling with joy. Why? His expectation is fulfilled. He is happy. And one of you, or several of you, very honestly comes and tells me, "You did your best, Swami, but it went above my head. I didn't understand." As because the Swami's expectation is not fulfilled, that Swami crashes with a thud on mud. Oh dear me, I am unhappy, I am sad. What is the original cause? My expectation. When it is fulfilled, I am happy, in cloud 9. When it is not fulfilled, I am depressed, I am sad, I am angry, I am annoyed. I have made myself a victim of my propensities because I was not on my guard. I let my guards down. What is the guard? I should not expect. You would say, Swami, you are talking irrationally. Without any motivation, how can work be performed? How can duty be performed without any motivation? Whether it is joy or happiness, whether it is misery or sadness, is immaterial. There has to be a motivation. Then only you can work. So, our teachers knew very well what should be the motivation. The motivation is Brahmani Adhaya. Your motivation is you offer your very best correctness, thoroughness, perfection, excellence. Perform your duties thoroughly, correctly, perfectly, excellently. Having done so, you offer it to God. Convert the concept of work into worship. That's the motivation. So you charge me, Swami, unmotivated activity is not possible. I said, yes, I know that. Now your motivation is not worldly gains. Your motivation is to be correct, thorough, perfect, excellent, and you do your job thoroughly, correctly, perfectly, excellently, and you offer, oh my dear Lord, I am busy with my life. I cannot spend my time in ritualistic worship, which the scriptures say. But the scriptures have taught me to convert the concept of work into a concept of worship. Brahmani adhaya sangam tvakta yah karma karoti. What happens to him? Does he grow two horns and a long tail in a human body to prove that he is something special? Far from it. The world need not know what transformation is taking place within you. What is happening is you are constantly aware of the presence of the divine who is within you and who is everywhere. You are now outgrowing the borders of Jiva Atma, individual, into Paramatma, the cosmic existence, Ishvara or Nirguna Brahma. That is what you are doing. So here, dear, information, education and instruction is being blended together. Perform your duties of life correctly, thoroughly, perfectly, excellently. Why? You have to offer it to God. You don't offer rotten food to God. You don't offer torn, dry flowers to God. You offer the best that you can. This is the best that you can with your life. So you offer it to God. A karma yogi. That concept of karma yoga, where your work, the concept of work undergoes a sea change, and it becomes a continuing interaction with the awareness of presence of God in your life through performance of your duties. You don't have to go anywhere else. Wherever you are, whatever is your situation, whatever may be your position, profession, you can convert it by following this instruction, a method of enlightened self-education. You convert your life into an endless worship of the divine. Brahmani adhaya sangam tvaktva karmam karoti yaha sa. He who has, with this instruction correctly followed, converted his life into an endless worship of the divine, sa papena lipyati. Lipyate na sa papena padma patra iva amrata. Sa vikti, that person, papena na lipyate. He does not become a victim of his mood swings. That is sin. In a very, very subtle, abstract form. What is sin? Sin, in its broadest definition, is any act and deed, physically, emotionally, intellectually, which prevents you from identifying yourself with your true original nature, is sin. That is the broadest definition of sin, universal definition of sin. Any act physically performed, any act emotionally performed, any thinking intellectually performed, which holds you back, which prevents you from identifying yourself with the divine, is sin. Papa. Then what is virtue? What is virtue? Any act physically, any emotions emotionally, any thoughts intellectually, which takes you closer to the awareness of the presence of the divine everywhere and yourself, is virtue, punya. This is the real meaning. It has a social connotation, it has a legal connotation, it has a moral connotation. I'm not bothered. I'm bothered with this concept. What prevents me from knowing my true original nature? I am the divine. I have to have that intuitive experience. I must have that experience, a total saturation of my being. That is intuitive experience. Until and unless I do so, I am a victim of circumstances created by me because I have not educated myself to demotivate myself from worldly things and motivated myself with the divine. Sa papena na lipyate. A person who has educated himself through this instruction, education, information, a person who has practiced this in his life, he is not a victim of any mood swing that is a sin. By way of examples, dear, are wonderful teachers. An example has been defined by our scriptures. And you will understand to what extent our scriptures go to help us. What is an example? The student asks his teacher. You say it's an example, here's an example. What is a right example? Oh dear child, don't you know what's an example? Jasmin arthe buddhi samyam sadrishtanta. Excuse me using Sanskrit words, but it's very, very, very easy. Very refined, very precise. Sanskrita, refined and precise language. What is it? Jasmin arthe buddhi samyam. I pick up an object where the questioners and the answerers' ideas coalesce, they agree. Hey, don't touch the pot. It is as hot as fire. I ask you not to touch the pot. Why should I? Listen, my dear, it is as hot as fire. Will you touch it? Why will you not touch it? You know fire burns. I know fire burns. Here, your view and my view of a certain object coalesce together. We agree with each other. Such an object is an example. Yatra is another detailed definition. Yatra Lokika Parikshakanam Darshanam Nabhyahannate Sadrishtanta. I pick up an object where your views and my views, Lokika is a questioner. Parikshaka is a person who has seen it through. Their views do not contradict each other. That is the best example. Here, Sri Krishna gives us an example. What is that example? Sa papena na lipyate. Sin cannot touch him. Though he is living in this world, he is performing his duties like all others. Others, because of their motivation with worldly things, they get messed up. They dirty themselves. They are in a mess. They are victim of mood swings. But this person who has learned the art of perform his duties of life in that precise manner, he is not a victim of mood swings. Sa papena na lipyate. Mood swings have no hold on him. Is it possible? You are saying, and I don't understand. I will give you an example, the teacher says. Padmapatra iva ambasa. Iva is as for example. The word iva means as for example. What is the example? I'll give you several. Here he says one example. I don't know whether you have ever played with it or not, but it is to be seen. If you have not, please do so. A lotus leaf, a lotus flower, a lotus plant, take a leaf. It's a huge plate-like leaf. Put a little water on it and play with that water bubble. That ball of water will look like mercury. You play with it, turn it around on the leaf, and then you throw the water out. Water has the capacity to wet everything. When you throw that water out from the lotus leaf, there's not a speck of water. There's no water anywhere. Water could not wet the lotus leaf. Activities will not cause you any sin. Just like water cannot wet a lotus leaf. Here you are an example. Don't touch it. It is as hot as fire. Don't run after a mirage. It looks like water, but it is only refraction of air. There's no water there. Don't. You see water next time, but you don't run after it to quench your thirst. These are the examples. Saguna Brahma, Nirguna Brahma. An hibernating snake is almost dead. But that snake is vicious. If it bites you, you'll die. That venom is in the snake, but it is not kinetic. It is potentially held there, as if not there. Saguna Brahma is kinetic, Nirguna Brahma is inert. These are the examples. So now let me summarize the 10th shloka. He says, Sri Krishna says, the excellence is another way also. We people, we have a feeling that this spiritual life is meant for a handful of few. Those who have taken a vow of sannyas, those who have taken 64 vows, and they live up to those vows, they are sannyasis. They wear a different cloth, like a collar of a dog. They have their own masters. Otherwise, all of them are worldly people, householders, grihasthas. Maybe bachelors, but they are in the world. And they think that sannyas is something which is beyond me. Please get rid of this nonsense. It is a nonsensical idea that it is beyond me. It is an attitudinal correction. Sannyasa is an attitudinal correction. Correction of your attitude with which you lead your life. I am worse than a grihastha if I run after name, fame, wealth, power, pelf, admiration. I am a cheat, victim of self-deception. But if this attitudinal correction is not in me with the 64 vows, and to protect me from the society will kick me around if I don't live up to my vows. That is why I have a different buckle on my neck. Because a master's dog has a neck round, a lace round his neck. So, please get rid of that nonsensical idea that sannyasa is not for all and sundry. It is the attitude which makes a difference between a worldly man and a man living in the world but not of it. Like water on a lotus leaf, it goes around everywhere, but when you throw it out, the leaf is as dry as ever. So he says here now, let me paraphrase and complete. A person who has educated himself or herself, there's no gender difference, a person who has educated himself or herself in such a manner that the motivation behind the performance of duty is the motivation of a karma yogi who has converted the concept of work into concept of worship. He works. He is seen to be extremely active, but he is totally detached. Padmapatra iva ambhasa. Just like a water cannot wet a lotus leaf, living in this world cannot wet him. A swan in water, a fish in water, living in algae, but algae doesn't touch it. Swan swims in water, drowns itself in water, but not a feather is wet. These are the examples. He has said that example. I go on to the next shloka. As I tell you, each shloka has a connection with the previous shloka and a link to the next shloka. How do I perform this? As soon as I read this shloka, Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tvaktva karoti ja lipyate na sapapena padmapatra iva ambhasa. Oh, this is the state that you say, sir. How do I reach it? Automatic, spontaneous. And the answer is in the 11th sloka. Let me read it first. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalair indriyairapi yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktva atma vishuddhaye. This is it. He is now detailing the method of performance. Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam takta. The main theme is not to get attached. How do I do it, sir? You are explaining it, but tell me in concrete, practical terms how I do it. What should be my correct attitude of doing so? Now listen what he says by way of an answer. Kayena, bodily. Kaya is body. By the body. Kayena. By the involvement of the body. Manasa, mind. Your thinking, your emotions. Buddhya, your rationality. And your bodily activities. What is this bodily activity? For that purpose, the scriptures have analyzed it. There's no end to this analysis, dear, and the more you go deep into it, the easier for you to follow the instructions. Kaya, body. Now we know body have 5 active organs. I can grab with my hand. I can kick with my legs. I can swallow. I can 5 different activities in the body. Excrete, absorb. All this is bodily activity. How does that body act? You determine, I will go to the ashram to attend the Gita class. Buddhya, you have reasoned, this is the way I'd like to spend 1 hour every week. I'll go and listen to the scriptural wisdom. You make up your mind. Your intellect has convinced you it is profitable for you. That is why you decide. Why do you decide so? Because you love it. If you hate it, you will not come up. Because you like it, you love it, that's why you have manasa. And then you take your keys, you go to your garage, start your car, drive physically, coordinating the intellect, the emotion, and the physical activity with your 5 sense organs, your 5 active organs, and 5 forces of life. 15 of them with your ego ruling you. Pancha Indriya, Gyanendriya, Pancha Karmendriya, Pancha Prana, Ahankara, Mana Buddhi. There you are. 18 elements in your body activate you. The whole circle is complete when these 18 elements are together. They are coordinated together. Who is the coordinator? The ego. I am the coordinator. He is describing that in his old-fashioned way. I am describing it to you in a modern language. Kayena, activities of the body, with the help of activities of the body, with the help of activities of your emotions, manasa, buddhya, with the help of activities of your rationality, kevalair indriyairapi, and all the 10 organs, 5 active organs, 5 sense organs, and 5 expressions of life energy. This is it. Kayena manasa buddhya kevalairindrairapi yogina karma kurvanti. A karma yogi carries on with his life. I cannot stop the flow of life. The life will flow on. So let me allow the life to flow the way I want it to flow. Not as a victim of circumstances, victim of life and dislikes, but the way I want it to flow. Yogina karma kurvanti. They carry on with the flow of life as if he is a normal human being. But the catch is Sangam Tvakta Atma Visuddhaye. He is not attached by anything that the world offers, but he knows it has no value. And Sangam Takta, he performs his duties without being attached to the offers that the world makes. What are those offers? That has been stipulated. Putraishana, Vittaishana, Jashaishana. 3 cardinal desires of a biological creature. What are the 3 cardinal desires? Biological creativity. That is A. Putraishana. To keep the lineage going. Vittaishana. Intense desire for wealth and money. Inherent in me. It is in my blood. In a biological creature's blood. And Jashaishana. I to be admired. I crave to be admired by the world. 3 cardinal desires. Creation, love for creativity, love for wealth and power and pelf, love for admiration, approbation, admiration, bordering being worshipped. These are the 3 cardinal desires. Sanyam Tvakta Atma Vishuddhaye. Again, sir, you are asking me to do so. How can I do so? What should be my motive of doing so? My motive is Atma Vishuddhaye. This Jivatma, full of dirt and muck. He wants to clean himself up. And the example is Jatha Adarsha Malenacha. A wonderful, expensive Belgium glass. Looking mirror. In those days, the aristocrat rich families used to buy from Belgium those beautiful, wonderful Belgian mirrors. That was a show of their aristocracy and their wealth. Because it is costly, while renovating the house, somebody kept it in a safe corner behind an alcove or a big furniture so that it doesn't get spoiled. And in due course of time, it is forgotten. Slowly and slowly and slowly, in 2 or 3 generations' time, moisture, dirt and muck has covered the glass fully. The end result is the reflectivity of the glass, for which you paid a fortune, imported it from Belgium. It has lost its reflectivity and it has lost its awareness of its existence. One day, somebody said of the family, there's a very old furniture. I'd like to have a modern one. Throw it away. Lo and behold, they find a beautiful golden framed mirror. But the mirror has lost its reflectivity. What do? They run to the shopping mall, buy a glass cleaner spray and a mopper. Spray and mop, spray and mop, spray and mop. It may take several days. And slowly, the reflectivity appears. You are not creating the reflectivity. You are removing the dirt on the mirror. The reflectivity was there, is there, will be there. Because of negligence, because of not awareness, you have become a dirty mirror. All this instruction is to be put into practice to mop out that dirt from that mirror so that its reflectivity shines off again. So that this egocentric individual, the Jivatma, becomes the Paramatma again tomorrow. The whole of the 5th chapter, dear, each and every shloka will beg of you to perform according to this instruction and clean the dirt and muck which you have filled yourself by your follies, forgetting your true original divine nature. Do that and be free. That is the end all and be all of all religion and spiritual practices. That is what Swami Vivekananda ji said. Do all and be all of all spiritual practices, to be one with my Maker in heaven, according to Christian belief, to be a perfect Khuda ke Banda, according to Islamic belief. A Banda is a servant who has no ego of his own. He has blended his ego with his master's ego. He can read the master's mind and do things before the master asks him to do so. Uttam Sevak, he is the best servant. And that is what it is. And according to Indian scriptures, Srinantu Vishwe Amritasya Putra Ame Dhamani Divyani Tastu. Listen to my dear friends belonging to the whole universe. I had been to that stage of awareness where I know we are all children of immortal bliss. That is what we are in reality. And to what a level we have degraded ourselves we can find out by thorough study of such scriptures. Thank you, my dear friends. Thank you ever so much.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.